This program is brought to you by
You love it. You're good at it. You have experience in it. Teach it online to monetize your skills. Learn anything, anywhere, anytime, and pay what you want. Register at gurukul.online.
Namaste and good evening. This is Ryan Sister from the Ryan Sister Show. It's a show about things that matter. And today I have a very special guest, Evana Manandhar. Evana is actually Miss Nepal World 2015, right? I will actually give you a bit of introduction about her in a few minutes, but I also want to talk to you about the topic for discussion today. Today we're going to talk about a very, popular topic, which is in the mind of every youngster's at the moment. And the topic is there the right time to get married? Is there a right age to get married? And the reason I came up with this topic for discussion today is because I have lots of nieces and nephews who are in their late 20s, and they all are in a relationship, looking to get married. Some of them are single, some of them have a boyfriend, and I also work with a lot of young women and men both, who are in that age bracket. And personally, myself being, married, having a family, been there, done that, I have some set, beliefs about the right time to get married and how the family life should be. Whereas the young millennials might have a different perspective. And that's why I was looking for someone younger, maybe, with a generation gap. And I was looking for someone who is popular, who is like a well-known celebrity, who can be a role model to all the people out there in that age bracket. And I found Evana. And I approached her, and she was very humble, down to earth. She took my invitation with open arms. She really wanted to talk about it, and I also thought that she would be ideal for this role because she's had experience in life which will really help us know more about her past experience and learn from that, and then how we can help change our society in some ways for everyone to benefit. So Evana is not just the person with pretty face. She's also very bright academically. She's qualified with a Bachelor of Business from the US university called Wilkes University, where she managed to get a bachelor's in business with major in marketing and entrepreneurship. And while she was there, she was also able to get the Dean's Award for leadership in marketing. And also, she was awarded the International Student of the Year Award for multiculturalism. So apart from that, she actually came back to Nepal to participate in the Miss Nepal beauty pageant. And then she decided to stay in Nepal because she fell in love with Nepal again. And she had some family commitment at the same time. And she did her MBA from the Kathmandu School of Management. And now she is looking to become an entrepreneur, and she is working in a family business, and she wants to do something which will really make an impact in the society. So having said all this, she is beautiful, she's intelligent, she's academically bright, and she's a very good marketer and an aspiring entrepreneur. She's also Nepal's most eligible bachelorette. Can I say this, Ivana?
Yes, you're somewhat all right.
So that's actually, that's why I chose Ivana for discussion today. So today our discussion is going to be a little bit like a debate, because I represent an older generation. I'm not that old, to be honest. I'm in my mid 40s, Ivana is in her mid-20s, late 20s, right? So there's this almost like a generation gap,
Not
Um,
late 30s, guy. I think I'm like exactly touching 30. I'm exactly 30. So
thanks for your honesty, Ivana.
I'm exactly 30. I just turned 30.
Yeah, sure. Like when I was chatting with Ivana, she was asking me whether I should call you a dai or an uncle, and I told her, please don't call me uncle. That would make me really old, right? So I think let's start our discussion. Before we move on to our topic of discussion, I would like to know a bit more about your background. Let's start with your professional background. Okay, Ivana. So tell me, why did you decide to do your MBA in Nepal?
So thank you, Nai, for a very wonderful, I think, and humble introduction to begin with. We have been talking in order to do this session for a while, and finally we're able to, and I'm really glad that we are able to connect now and do this amazing discussion, which is very important to talk in the society and world today. So I think academics has been a part of my life since a very young age, to begin with. My father being very much of a pursuer in academics himself, he's not pushed me when it comes to enforcing same subject matter or discussing in the matter that you have to pursue exactly what is there in the family business. He's always pushed me to become like a person that I want to be, basically a person that I want to see myself in the future, besides having the family business binding, passionate in whatever I want to do, whether be it in career, ambition, profession, and education. So in the same way, business was something that was inbuilt in me from a very young age, to be honest, because obviously father being into an entrepreneurship, business and engineering, it always was inside my system to kind of pursue business. So it had come, I think, naturally too, because a person who had already planned from a very young age that I'd do pursue business after my A-levels was something that I could connect to. And bachelor's in business administration with marketing was something that came naturally to me. My decision to pursue MBA here at Kusum, was also something that came naturally because while I was staying in Nepal, I thought, why not make it more productive by focusing on my academics after coming out of media? So I think one thing I've always learned and balanced in life is academics and pageantry. So it's really important, I think, to balance that, no matter which profession career you are from. पेशा पर्स्यु गर्नुहुन्छ या हुँदैन आफ्नो ठाउँमा छ तर आफ्नो प्यासन भनौँ न आफ्नो भित्रीदेखि इच्छा के गर्नु मन छमा चाहिँ I think we need to always have a soul search and discovering, and that is how business came to me naturally, having my father's ambition at the side as well. But my ambition was to pursue marketing because I was a people's person, and from a very young age, I've always learned to kind of be around people, always been an extrovert and been a people's person where it came naturally. So pursuing academics with a business administration degree in both, where marketing was my major, is something that I don't feel that I've done repetitively as a subject matter, but I'd rather take it as, leveraging up kind of, level up your academic with the same subject matter while discovering marketing. So another reason why I decided, obviously, to study in Nepal is definitely to learn the local business environment here in Nepal, to have a, mixed culture of American education and Nepali education, where I could foster the intercultural differences from, all the political, economic, social environment to also business environment. That's another reason why it definitely gave me basically an immense encouragement to pursue in Nepal, and the education system in Nepal has progressively stood out in the last so many years too. And another reason why, obviously, marketing, because I've always thrived to always connect with people since a very young age. One of my really important strengths, which really I discovered in a very young age, was being like very people's person, where like I've always implemented interpersonal communication as a key to my career and my academics. This is the reason why I even pursued marketing, and being always a curious and inquisitive child since a very young age. When I traveled for the first time when 3 years old, when I went to the States, I was always questioning. That's what my parents say. I'm a person who likes to question all the time what is happening around me. So I think it was very inborn, a thing that was naturally in me, and it always makes me drawn to people. So marketing is about people, communication, and eventually, the society that we live in. So I think it's something that just came built over time, and hence, right now also networking and public relation has been a key in marketing, and something that I thrive to learn every day and experiencing. And this is the reason why marketing and business comes to me.
Sure. I think marketing really suits your personality, right, Ivana? Because as you said, you're a people person. You're bubbly, and you are very confident as well. And I think because your mom is a designer, so you got a bit of designer, like creative gene in you too. Because as a marketer, you have to be very creative, isn't it?
So my mom, she has this. When I say she's more of a small family startup, I would say she does it passionately too. Painting and designing is something she does with passion, like something that I did for pageantry or academics. I just support her definitely in marketing, as you say, definitely.
Sure. And because you were brought up in a business environment, I think I saw in one of your previous programs that, your dad started the business when you were born, right?
Yes.
So probably you've been through all these struggles,
Yes.
Normally an entrepreneur has to go through, because business doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of hard work.
So it was
probably when you was doing your assignments and all, you could relate to what your dad has done, right? Yes. So it must have been pretty easy for you to study marketing, because a lot of things you see on a daily basis.
Yeah. One thing, obviously, with my father, and I think, how fathers put in their blood, sweat, and tears, everything for their family, how the head of the family always does. I've seen that with my father as well, on the entrepreneurship course, we're going to Nepal, survival for the fittest competition. So having his roots, from a very humble beginning, I've seen that. So I think it takes definitely a toll on me on, how life and, how experiences of business has changed over decades, because Titi Bella, when father had less resources, now we have all the resources to begin with in entrepreneurship. So I think it's an easy way out there for us, than the Berko generation, because you had to build in a lot of resources, collect a lot of resources. And my father, I've seen him from scratch, putting the milestone. And for me, it's just making that pavement add to another brick to the wall, Vanessa. So I definitely salute to all the fathers out there, who had humble beginnings and to start with, to establish a family. So
sure. Okay, so I'm just gonna actually, because I also studied marketing. I did my bachelor's in marketing, and also I did my MBA. Both in Australia, I did my MBA in finance and international business, and also IT. The word entrepreneurship is used very lightly these days. Everyone wants to be called an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
But I think there is a difference between an entrepreneur and a businessman. Do you agree? Do you know what's the difference?
I definitely understand your question. I was just having this discussion lately with my friend circle and my family too. Is entrepreneurship related to businessman? How would a CEO match?
I should say business person, not a businessman. Sorry, business person.
Yeah, business person. How would a CEO be in any match or equivalent or similar to an entrepreneur? So something that in business school we discuss so much about, and in marketing student, even marketers are entrepreneurs when it comes to ideas and innovation. Apparently, I do think it one to an extent it has synonymous meaning to it, but I think one wouldn't exist without the other. Just a laxamala, to begin with. And I think to have an entrepreneurial mindset, it requires a lot of innovation, inventive mindset, and a lot of research and development to spot the opportunities in the market. And I think, secondly, to marshal these resources to fill in that gap, you definitely need a business person at the same time, an investor, to actually invest. I still remember Shark Tank when it comes to an example, where entrepreneurs are meeting ideators and ideators with the investors and CEOs. And Shark Tank is a example where entrepreneurs and business people come hand in hand in one platform where they're building. And I think having younger generations, I think series or also to really know the gap between, entrepreneurs and business person at the same time. And I think entrepreneurship, it's definitely thinking out of the box, taking the risk, not worrying about the profit maximization or I'd say returns on investment at the end. Right. But a business person will rather focus on all of that because they're investing, right? And then they're creating CEOs and managers. So I think business person and entrepreneur is at the same time synonymous, but also one wouldn't coexist without the other in today's age and world. A business person will probably not be always innovative at the same time, but they always worry about profit maximization because they are the investors. But an entrepreneur, I think, in difference to two different perspectives, an entrepreneur ideates, initiates the idea, solves the problem. Solve the problem. Currently entrepreneurs once, and I think find a solution to the problem and risk maximization. They're not always worried to the end goal of the profit maximization. So I think they shouldn't exist in this world separately, but they should coexist together, much I believe, because one wouldn't exist without the other. So I do think it's similar to an extent, but it's also different when it comes to business, the core matter of business, how they work in business. So I think it's definitely the combination that actually divides and also actually covers the gap that we can produce, where businessmen are meeting entrepreneurs, investors are meeting ideators to produce, solution to a problem. So it's for me, it has two different meanings, and I think two different existence. But at the same time, it has synonymous roles and scope of work to divide with. But when it comes to execution, a business person coexists with an entrepreneur, and an entrepreneur coexists with a business person to create a successful investment and market feasibility in the world today, I think.
Yes, exactly. I think you're 100% correct. Just to summarize what you said, I think the main difference between entrepreneur and a businessman is entrepreneurs work for passion, whereas the business person works for profit maximization.
Like I said.
Right. Yeah. And an entrepreneur actually sees the gap in the market. And as you said, they solve the problem and they are able to create something out of nothing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Whereas like in a real business world, the entrepreneur is actually the leader who comes up with an idea, but to make that idea a reality, that's when people come into picture, right?
Yes.
They help an entrepreneur make that into reality. Okay. So you had a very good educational background, you're already highly qualified. Now probably you want to get into business. Do you have any plans for your future business project?
I do have plans. There are a lot of plans, but maybe going back to studies, probably a little bit, just because I wanted to do not just MBA or Rupani specific, but I wanted to pursue because I'm really into networking and public relations. So probably try to see that sector as well when it comes to education. I am definitely indirectly supporting the CE family, CE construction for my dad's establishment. But I don't see where there wouldn't be any experimentation based on media as well. So I'm still experimenting that because I've taken a long gap in media for my studies. So definitely coming back to it for sure. How about a surprise for you?
Okay. So we might see you on TV one day soon.
Soon.
Are you producing a program? Or are you hosting it? Can you give some hints to our audience, maybe?
Oh, that's a secret. Okay. That will be a secret for now. And I think for now, I just want to keep it as an experiment and something that I'll be really excited to learn and give at the same time.
Right. Okay. So, Evana, what motivates you? I mean, I'm sure, to get into a business, you got to have some kind of motivation.
I think most importantly, to be ready to fail is something that motivates me. Because, failure is a part of our life. And I think that is something that we have to openly embrace, that you will fail every step of your investment or even business, or, it could even be that you're ROIs won't come at the exact time, but we should be ready to earn that over the time with the risk management. I think, and the second factor would be risk management. Really important to calculate the risk into it. So I think those are the things when it comes to business. But I think the core subject matter for me is being very much adaptive and people's person with the extrovert and flexible mind frame, which not having a narrow mind frame. I think that's something that core of marketing and in business is something that I'm really more interested into, where I could foster my experience and knowledge into it, when it comes to networking, public relations. Apparently, something that really motivates me is I feel marketing is not just a subject, when it comes to business. It's about marketing yourself first, like, I don't know how much I do agree to it. Like, I'm a marketing, branding, I'm a personality. Okay, I think this is my personality, that I'm able to brand myself out there, being a student, being a passionate person, or whatever that would be, to be able to brand yourself first is the core of something that motivates me, Your personality, brand for a positive way, and also accepting the flaws of my personality and knowing that no one is perfect, and kind of getting into cube where we are trying to fit into that cube, fit out of that cube and kind of put yourself on more diverse field is something that motivates me. Thinking out of my comfort zone motivates me. Thinking out there and seeing to experiment what are different professions to subject matters, even in marketing, that motivates me. And I think at the same time, learning from family, that's how they saw, but learning from my mentors, my friends from internationally abroad, to even Nepali friends. I think keeping that mix crowd of diversity and groundedness, but also being very exploitative is something that really motivates me. And that drive every time that it's an experiment that you're doing on me.
Yeah, sure. I can feel that. I think you're a very driven person, and I'm sure you'll be able to achieve something big in the near future. And in building your personality and your branding, are you proud of any moment in your life, apart from being Miss Nepal? Are you proud of any other things that you've achieved so far?
I would like to definitely give this a more closure to this answer, because Miss Nepal is one of the milestones, it's not the destination. MBA is one of the milestones, it's not the destination. It's just a ladder to another destination, one other say. I believe humanity, compassion, kindness, and humbleness is something that I feel that I feel good about when it comes to being proud, when it comes to being a person, not just in public eyes or public figure, you as a human being, as Evana itself, where I'm able to share and spread that kindness, love, and compassion. I think that's when I do feel really proud, because there are incidents, moments where when it comes to giving back, I still remember, some things like awards and achievements and money is something that it's not something that is treasured to be the most, I'd say, how do I say this? I'd say achievement, money, and then of course awards is something that brings you up in the society where you're able to, I guess you need.
You're always proud of those materialistic achievements.
Yeah, it's more materialistically. What the achievement, obviously, money cannot buy that. But what I really believe is kindness, compassion, humanity, and ethics is something that I feel I'm proud for myself of. When it comes to improvising that in society and giving few examples from. Even when it came to doing my Beauty with a Purpose project, when I went to Manang, Mustang, and Jomsom, the whole area there, Upper Mustang, being able to touch the hearts of children there was something that I still remember. Even Evana Manandhar, she kissed me on my cheek, and the flower, love share. These things I feel, proud of it. Being able to go there, teach them something, giving them education, giving them training, hygiene को training was, and small things in life, small things matter in life for small happinesses rather than the larger picture. So when it came to beauty with purpose, I remember that, with the children touching their hearts, their lives. I remember that very clearly. And then when it also came to earthquake belama, because I won during the earthquake, भूकम्पको समयमा जित्नु पर्दा मिस नेपाल भएको थियो अनि हामीलाई कति गाह्रो भयो थियो when to establishing resources. But when we all felt helpless that time, being able to go there to विभिन्न त्यो टेन्ट्सहरुमा शिविरहरुमा जब women and children were malnourished, to even like the resources were not there, भर्खर जन्मेको त्यो शिशुहरुलाई समातेर being able to distribute menstrual hygiene kits there, and at the same time being able to give them support, give them inner self-esteem, being a woman. I think these things are small things that I'm more proud of, I think, than just a larger picture. That is so important. It's like, till date, I feel their happiness in their eyes when we went to go sit with them, eat with them, spread the love and kindness. And I think that is important in today's world of humanity. And ethically, improvising that is very difficult because, as human beings, we are selfish beings, of course, it is by nature, we have ego, but to keep that ego aside and on humanitarian ground, use humanity for kindness and not expect anything in return. I know that's really important for me. I think that really motivates me. And when it comes to ethics, I think it's really important in our day-to-day life that we spread love, kindness, and compassion based on emotional intelligence between two people with expecting nothing in return. I think that is our moral core. So I think that's something that I try to improvise every day, learning from my family as well as something that I experimented on myself, that it's all about giving and not expecting anything in return. That's something I've always flourished.
Yeah, that's very good advice, Evana. Yeah. It sounds like you're giving a person or something like that. I agree with you 100%. Like, I think you can't judge a person by like how many property he or she owns or how much wealth he has. Yes. I think a person becomes rich when he or she is able to help.
Their heart is rich at the end of the day.
Yeah, and change someone's life, right?
Yeah. So when it comes to achievement, it's about keeping the legacy behind. How many people will remember you for what you've impacted their lives into? Even just one person's life, I feel that's an achievement for me. That's something I'm proud of. I still remember going from workshops to menstruation, dignity matter, workshops going to menstrual exile examples. I'm just giving beauty with a purpose. This something that एउटा मात्रै महिला एउटा मात्रै पुरुष हैन एउटा मात्रै एनी जेन्डरको पर्सनको चाहिँ लाइफ चेन्ज गरेर आफूले टच गर्न सक्यो भने that's achievement for me. And I think something that I've always asked to my audience also, always connect to me if you've learned something of my experience and improvised and implemented that in your life. I would be glad to hear that from you once again. And there have been a lot of numerous calls and messages when that comes, that thank you so much for this one day of happiness or one day of sharing your love, self-esteem and motivation. It matters. It matters to ask.
Sure, Evana. Like I was going to move on to your family life aspect, and I think you already mentioned about all your family values that you inherited from your mom and dad. Maybe all these values you mentioned, like compassion, love, care, making a difference, right? Can you tell me a little bit about your family? Like who's there? Like apart from your mom and dad.
So I was born in a joint family, but raised in a nuclear family to begin with. We have a small family, very humble. I think filled with, most importantly, morals. A lot of that in my household. My father, my mom, and my brother. I have one sibling. So that's my entire family when it comes to our family that I've been raised in. Father being, obviously a person who is not just the head or the breadwinner of the family, but also being our friend at the same time. And my mom being sister, and my brother being my younger sibling. We have a lot of age gap. I mean, 6 gap. He's a sweetheart. He's a quiet person, but he's a very highly intelligent guy when it comes to supporting in family.
I believe he's in the US at the moment, right? Or he's in Nepal.
No, he's here. He's here now. He finished his undergrad, information technology, computer sciences. So he graduated just now. He's back in Nepal. So he's into staying in Nepal, pursuing something for himself also. But he's more of I wouldn't say an extrovert person like me, but he's very quiet, but when he knows when to speak, he knows when to suggest. So very happy and loving family. My father, mom, she's a sweetheart also. So I've been very close to my maternal side of the family because my upbringing was so much connected to my grandparents, my mom's father and mother. And so my grandfather, late Surya Manandhar, my inspiration because America. So I was always raised towards my mom's side of the family because very young age, my brother was born after 6 years, so I was always going back and forth. Mamagar was my favorite, and I was the only granddaughter. I mean, first granddaughter and only granddaughter. So obviously, I was loved by mama, my grandparents. So something that really comes in the core of my family is my father's obviously core values, but also my grandfather's core values, which really made the person I am today as a marketing person. But he was always a people's person. Okay? He used to take me everywhere around. Say Lions Leo Club, road trip.
Grandfather.
I remember, I was always with people and around people, and he was that kind of a person that reminds me to be a person today, No, I'm talking right now about my grandfather, my mom's. He passed away in the States. So after he passed away, our lives changed, and my life changed because I was so close to him. In a very young age, he passed away. It's something that I inherited from him, that being people's person, being kind, compassionate, being out there in crowd, because he was always there. Very much loving, outspoken. You won't believe my near mama, second mama. My mom, these are brothers. So my second mama came with me from the States in February when I left from Miss Nepal, Miss Nepal, leaving everything behind. He was so supportive. He came, let's do it now. That I'm there to support you. Right. I think family comes there. It's when in not the most difficult times, but most riskful times of your life, when you're leaving your career, passion behind and pursuing Miss Nepal, support pushing me, my mom and dad. I think that's where the core values of family lies. Is when you are trying to do something experimentative and risky and out of the box, family support, you're not going to move, you're not going to shake, you're not going to have a dilemma. It's you will be so rigid to that plan that you won't even blink your eye to think twice, So my family is so supportive. And my grandmother, she's there in States, so I'm very close to her. My mama, my zoo, and my bhai boyni. That's it. So we have a small family, and one of my mama is not married, and the other mama is married. So we have a little family there too as well. So really close tied knots to my maternal side of the family. I mean, without their support and without my father, mother's support here, I wouldn't be where I am when it comes to core values, to achievement. I think it's really important that we value family, not just bad times. And dukha parda matra family samjine haina ke jab tara hamlai chai life ma utar chadav hundakheri jab hami experiment garchhau hamro khutta dagmagaउँछ हैन जब चाहिँ हामी shake हुन्छौं कि am I making the right decision. And when I'm experimenting on my professional career, that's when your family support is so important. And my family has been thoroughly supportive on that case. And I think to the younger generation out there, and persuasion one important is a family man, to be able to pursue them, that you can make it, you can decide that and do it. And for me also, it was like that at the beginning, pursuing. That a job of family is when you're shaking and when you're finding it difficult to decide what you want in life, when they support you and give you a direction. That's where the core value lies. And for me, it was the same when it came to my family.
Right.
So. It's they're your bloodline in your life, So without them, you can stand.
It seems like you had a very good upbringing, probably a little bit pampered as well, maybe.
Being the only granddaughter, I was pampered, but गाली पनि खूब खान्थ्यो मामाहरूले grandfatherले हुन्छ नि mommy daddyले like गर्नु हुँदैन भनेपछि गर्नु हुँदैन भन्ने पनि हुन्थ्यो हैन very humble humble upbringing where नराम्रो चिज nonsense र नहुने चिजलाई चाहिँ नि सपोर्ट गर्दैन थियो के त्यस्तो चाहिँ
always very grounded. Okay.
Yeah.
So you never feel that you are, like daddy's little princess?
I think right now, when I was young, I'm sure, but now I think my dad has given me the sense of direction to stand on my own 2 feet ground. So I think for a father, when you ask, I'm sure to my dad, when you ask, he'll always say yes, of course. पहिलो छोरी पहिलो घरमा हैन अब भन्छ नि छोरी भनेको अब fatherको लागि obviously little princess हुन्छ तर for me, I think my father is a warrior. So I like to be a warrior princess. So that's how I want to put it out there.
Right.
I have 2 sides to the same story, where I've been raised as a warrior too, and at the same time a princess too. So I think I'm at the phase of discovering the warrior passion of my career. So that's
really good. Otherwise, sometimes they say a dad usually always tries to raise his daughter as a princess, But when it comes to a point where the daughter has to go out there, the jungle, the jungle out there, and they're not strong enough to fight with the factors, right? So it's good that you've taken the warrior,
So I'm well prepared to Kurama say my father has well equipped me and prepared. Of course, failure but to discover and to uncover and to see the harsh world. From very young age, I was prepared, from obviously letting me go independently, study, experiment in my pageantry career. And then after that, in my MBA, as well as now in media. So to be able to, unleash your potentials, my father's always unleashed me in the competitive industry to just be prepared to be as a warrior, be prepared.
So. Yeah, sure. Evana, these is saying that, when a girl is between 7 and 10, they fall in love with their dad. The dad's always their first love, and that image of the dad stays in their subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And then when they are ready to get married, they look for a man who's just like their dad in terms of personality, even looks. So because you have such a good impression of your dad from the childhood. Because he's such a hardworking person, he's a successful person. He set the benchmark very high for your boyfriend or your future husband. Do you agree? And maybe that's why you're still single.
I'm single now, very happy and content. Obviously, first, to be very honest, about your question. Which is a very interesting question. I mean, you being a father yourself, you probably put that yourself in your shoes and also ask the same thing. For any daughter, of course, father has that impression and imprint from a very young age, because you're pampered and loved and also, scolded at the same time and given that experimentation phase. I think for me, my father has definitely been a major influencer while choosing partners, definitely. So, to an extent, you want to agree to it or not, but if you ask that to your daughter as well, father ko jasto personality kehi nabhaye pani, father ko jasto values bhayeko family, to say expect gardo recha, but it definitely influences. And I think that's a positive influence, but also in today's day and age where daughters are raised independently, they should have their personal verdict also into it, personal influence or personal picturing of an ideal partner too as well. I think it should be a 50-50. I really think really matters that you cannot just dive deep and in finding another father personality, because I feel I cannot. Mata, I'm totally, in that agreeing stage that I wouldn't find another personified person like my father, and that I shouldn't even expect, because that benchmark and that legacy is already so high. But to even have someone similar or close to my father's values, something that I would definitely want to pursue in an ideal partner, because some things are not perfect. You cannot find perfection in an ideal partner. But there are characteristics that I definitely ideally find influences my father, such as, when it comes to hard work, garnema huna सक्छ, groundedness huna सक्छ, adaptiveness, flexibility. This household I say men and women are respected equally when it comes to equality and equity. So I think that is something that my father's influenced. So I definitely would get influenced by the core value when it comes to the finding the ideal partner. But of course, the benchmark is so high that it will be very competitive to the men out there, for sure.
Having said that, Ivana, I always have a discussion with my wife as well. It's like my wife also tells me the same thing. Like, my dad is this great. He's fine.
Yes.
Good. But I tell her, like, how about your mom? Your mom's really good as well. You look like your mom, right? So, so for you to expect your husband to be like your dad, you also have to be like your mom, right?
That's something. Yeah, it's quite a debate out there. I think it's realistic, definitely. Like you said, it's a realistic thing that can happen. Obviously, depends on person to person. Cannot generalize just one frame. But you're right. Certainly, हामी mother जस्तै multi-talented हुन पनि त सक्दैनौँ नि हाम्रो आमा जस्तै. We could be like passionate and then probably very flexible, narrow-minded, second generation, open environment, but I think if you ask, obviously, mother-like पनि कसैले replace गर्न सक्दैन रहेछ कि. Obviously, to a man as well, to have the mother's personality will be quite a toll there. It's quite a dilemma situation where it comes to respective of finding an ideal male or ideal female partner, vice versa, for a man or woman. So it's quite competitive out there. So yeah, I think that will be a discussion that will be never solved.
Right. Sure. It's just that our moms are just so great. They went through that generation where they had to work and also they had to look after the family.
Yes.
And the thing is, like in those days, they didn't have any ego. They let the ego way behind.
Yeah, sacrifices our moms do is irreplaceable. I know, like like you said, like father is obviously the head in the household, but the mother is the person who really puts the direction of where the head should go when it comes to the darkest or the most happiest times.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
It's really important, that discussion we had, So they are the two wheels of the same cart. One cannot exist with the other. So mom who sacrifice and the mom who guardian sacrifice is irreplaceable. Any human being out there in the world. That's right.
So, exactly. I actually do believe that women have so much power in any relationship. They are really the neck of the family. A man wants to be the head, right?
Yeah.
Because behind every successful man there's a woman, as they say. But these days it's the other way around as well. Like especially in Western countries, it's not always the men who's the head. Sometimes the women can be head as well. Like I've got some friends, who's happy to take that step backwards and stay home, look after the kid, and let the wife take the charge,
Yeah.
It's become so common. Like so many families, it's, as they say, the woman wears the pant, and I think that works as well. I think men these days have to be understanding. They can't have like all that ego like in the olden days.
Yes. Yes, that gap has already been analyzed and I think kind of neutralized.
Yeah.
when it comes to changing roles in household as well as in work professionally. Or they do like one day, people do alternatively to, as the weekends, like one weekend parents stay, like the father could stay home and the other weekend mother could. There's a good balance because I think it's definitely because of advocacy of awareness and education that, they cannot exist separately. They have to coexist together when it comes to switching roles and responsibilities to have a happy family. So
Sure,
it's probably.
sure. I think we can talk about this in more detail in my other question, where let's move on to our main topic. As I mentioned earlier, the main topic of discussion today was actually to talk about is there a right age to get married, right?
Yes.
So in coming to this question, I think we understood you very well. We knew about your academics, professional, strengths, background, and also your family background. I can say that you had a very good childhood. I think your parents have instilled some really good values in you. So definitely, the questions that I'm gonna ask now and your response gonna be based on those values, right?
Yes, it's definitely. I think it is so. Your mother or father, my father is always that more, stricter and probably more rigid when it comes to expressing that values. But mothers are always like they're more based on empathy, compassion, love, and kindness. So, do you tell a balance? Go ahead and say. Of course, ideal partner would be someone with a combination of, for me, with my mother's and poor father's both values. I really want to put it out there, and I think people out there really forget that. And Sunny, it's not just a father's princess values, but also a mother's hard work and multitasking values that really influence us as children.
Yeah, because as you said earlier, you're branding yourself. And after all, we are all marketers. We all have to be salespeople because we are selling ourselves in a family life as well. You're selling yourself as a good dad to your kid, a good husband to your wife, a good son-in-law to your in-laws, right?
Yes.
We have to brand ourselves in such a way that we get sold.
Yes.
If you're not sold, then they will say such a bad son-in-law, such a bad husband, right? So it's all about putting our package together in a way so that we get sold as well, right? So I think personally, I think that I did pretty well so far in my personal life because I got married when I was at the age of about 28.
Wow.
It wasn't an arranged marriage. I came to I was in Australia. I finished my studies. I had a good job, and then I went to Nepal. And then I told my mom, I gotta get married. If you're not gonna get me married now, I'm gonna go to Australia and I'm gonna get married with an Australian. So I kind of blackmailed her, right? Yeah. And then she spoke to some of her.
You're like kind of a rebellious child, right? Then.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I really wanted to get married, because I also planned in my life in such a way that things happen at the right time. So luckily, my mom found someone who's a daughter of some distant relatives, right? And then we my mom and I went to meet her with her family, and then it was like love in first sight. We fell in love, and then we got married. And then she followed me to Australia. But actually, before that, I actually had to go to India for work because the job I was doing at the moment, I was posted to India.
Okay.
And then I took my wife there. So it was more like a job and a honeymoon at the same time, And I came back here, I had a very happy married life, had kids and everything. And my kids have now grown up, one is 13 and one is 11. And they're really nice, kids, they're daughters, right?
Amazing. So you have 2 daughters, right?
Yeah. So I want to actually instill those good values in my daughters as well, and I want to prepare them for a happy life as well in the
Yes.
future, right? So, what I want to ask you is just the title question itself. Is there a best time to get married? As uh, once you are at a certain age, you get a lot of societal pressure, from your mom, from your relatives. Okay, now you've grown up, it's time to get married, especially this happens to girls in Nepal. As soon as you cross 20, 22, 24, they're always talking about, like, when is your daughter getting married? Like, there's so much pressure on your mom, right? So, what do you think? Is there a right age to get married?
Well, seriously, this question is going to be probably very difficult to answer.
Yeah.
When it comes to being realistic, I could answer, but if it comes to not being realistic, it is quite kind of difficult. Or depending on different generation, different
Yeah.
people, and different societies' values and upbringing too. So respecting all of that, answering this question, not having any personal bindings to respecting all of that,
Yeah.
because every family is different and every upbringing is different and every core values is different, and respecting that, and not I think personally touching anyone's emotion in there, answering that as an individual and an individualistic family, respecting that. And definitely for me, and it comes to my parents' upbringing, there isn't a right age, I believe. I think it's definitely a myth to an extent. There isn't an exact time, age, I think, to get married for both males as well as females, I think.
Right.
I definitely think that being in a generation today where it's a lot about juggling between career, passion, and stability, and also family, I have to respect that and answer that question, saying that it is definitely an individual decision and choice. I definitely believe that. And it depends on the unique circumstances that the two individuals find themselves into, and where something that cannot be really imposed by societal or family pressure. Because molecular, at the end of the day, definitely आफ्नो father figures जस्तो खोज्न खोज्छ, on that process आफ्नो mother figures जस्तो wife खोज्ला, father figure जस्तो husband खोज्ला, तर त्यो सबैलाई external factor राखेर हैन, it's really about not only just two families getting married. At the end of the day, the two individuals should be content, happy, and I think more importantly, very much concrete that they made the right decision. So currently, before even thinking of the right age to get married, is thinking about if that person is the right person to get married. I know. It's really important. Like you said, in your day and age, arranged marriage was prominent, and decision from parents were influenced a lot, and this decision from parents also were very valuable and still is. And Tubelama marriage had this very unique social institution of that. Once you choose a partner, once your parents choose a partner, once you get married, you have to take it as the only social institution. But now the definition of choosing a partner to marriage has changed and evolved over time, depending on the situation too. I have to respect that and answer that. I think it is definitely that two people should be very content and value each other before they think of the right age to get married. I know, whether it be late 20s or your late 30s, even late 40s, people do get married permanently, for males as well as females, thinking about that society. And it is highly likely that decisions could lead to unhappiness or misery if you're not able to connect to the person that you're getting married to. And obviously two families to connect भयो, तर त्यति भएर भएन हैन, अहिलेको day and age पहिला चाहिँ two families भएर connect भएर respect गरेर त्यो value लाई चाहिँ abide गरेर take that as the matrimony, holy matrimony. अहिले चाहिँ people are like I said, hustling in between career, passion, and all of that. त्यो सबै राख्दाखेरि it's better to give commitment when you're ready.
Right.
Otherwise, don't waste the other person's time and expectation. Respect that person's time and expectation. Dating is one thing, and getting married at the right age or the best age is another thing. Okay? That's two different matters. So I really respect that and say that, to people out there, and even in my own individual life, you have to respect the expectation from the other person's, side, and also not give over expectation or promises and commitments when you're not ready. You have to respect and value that person's time. So I think, of course, and thinking about that, men obviously don't need to worry so much about the best age to get married. Thinking about it any which way, Nepal bosom, Australia bosom, America bosom, Nepali upbringing, it's still, Purush Pradhan Samaj, thore to an extent, patriarchy छ. Keeping that and respecting that as well, the biological clock of the woman is also very important and vital.
Exactly. Yeah, I was just going to mention that actually. I might sound a bit conservative in saying this, but women they have to worry about their biological clock, as you said. Because scientifically also they say that the best time to have kids is between the age of 25 and 28. You got to have the first kid by 28. Ideal age, right? But these days, I know people are having their first kid not until 35 because they are so focused in their career.
So I think, like you said, cannot completely agree or disagree to that fact. It really depends on person to person, and women too. I mean, evolving the generation of women, prenatal care, postnatal care, exercising, yoga, baby things evolve, transform. Women have become more stronger mentally, emotionally, physically. They on the side, they decide for their life and kids as well. So respecting all of that, I think this argument is not only for males and females, and also includes in this evolved generation of same-sex couple marriages, and and also that, and also there are a lot of options technologically, freezing eggs, like you said, and there's adaptation, adapt of course, people also choose to have a child-free life as well, where there's
that's true.
Or living in a relationship. So, and looking at the data, many couples have chosen to, thinking about even going from test tube babies to freezing their eggs, to also opting for a child-free life, so respecting all of that. I
know there are all those technologies as you mentioned, but Evana, is it affordable though?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's a very good question. It depends on the background, like you said, the affordability, and I think the support from the partner as well to actually pursue these options as well. If there's money, we need to respect that, since if we're in a matrimony or companionship and the holy relationship called marriage, we have to respect both partners' decisions mutually. So definitely, if you talk about that, respecting all of that, I really think affordability is a big question that rises out there. We have to not take it as ignorant matter. So affordability, definitely when it comes to Nepali couples living here in Nepal, and if I'm speaking for not just the urban generation, I have to think for the rural generation in the country, as well as thinking about the wider audience. Definitely affordable, I know. And these mechanisms and techniques are sometimes even short-lived and temporary. It may or may not work out when it's come to a question. Respecting that, there is always a point where you have to decide the right age to probably give a child birth, because of the biological mechanism. But it also signifies and is also important for males out there too, because from the female hormones to male hormones, it's really important to balance in different ages. So respecting that, definitely a certain age, if you do want to, have a child, like you said, before 35, respecting that biological clock, it's important, but also for males as well. But if you think about, marrying a little late, after your 30s, then you definitely need to do your family planning accordingly. And we are not experts here. Like we said, we are discussing and debating over a generation of phenomena that is interesting to talk about. They're a right age to get married. So I definitely believe that affordability should be taken in consideration majorly. And I think another partner's willingness and decision should also be accountable to these decisions, and respecting families' pressure and decision is also important. So these are like secondary methods, like and like you said, these are like secondary methods that is in a case where the childbearing is difficult. But when you can actually bear it at the right age and time, why like you said, like why not? If you can bear a child in the right age and time, why not? But also, do not bear a child in societal pressure when you want to mind. What would be in a marriage where there is a loveless or respectless marriage where a child is born? It will be unhappy and dreadful for the child that is going to come.
It also comes down to like responsibilities. Just because you want to have a kid, should you have a kid? Are you responsible enough? Like, are you able to give that child a good upbringing? Right?
Yes.
Can you afford it? That's also important.
And it's I think it's like really irresponsible and stupidity for any, I think, couple to like have grounds where a child has unethical values, upbringing, and situation where everything is not already responsible and I think committed by their parents first. Because what's the child's upbringing would be or mistake would be in that case. So currently respecting all of that and not thinking as experts, here we are not. Just with the generation that we have, it's not so much, but maybe a decade or more. Currently, like your obviously feasibility and decision to the right age of marriage would definitely differ to mine, respecting that, and how will that actually shape our society today? Now we are more interested in, so I definitely think it's an individual's choice and individual mind frame. And yes, of course, it would be nice to get, in life, everything planned as it is, like you said, of course, it's nice, but not always anything is perfect or life will go as planned. I mean, not for me as well, for a lot of women out there who are juggling between life, career, and family. Everything won't be planned, but sometimes you have to plan your marriage as well. If you definitely find the right partner, you have to give priority to marriage and your biological clock also, like depending on the individual.
How about financial stability? Like, do you think one should be financially sound to decide to get married? Or if you're really in love with someone, and if you're ready, as you said earlier, like if you feel that you're ready, you should just get married, and then maybe you can grow richer together. What do you think? Until you have like money in your bank account.
That's also a very debatable question. I thought definitely, like you said, equity and equality of men and male and female, both in other sexes, also is the same when it comes to financial, mental, emotional, and social stability. I think one doesn't coexist without the other. So financial stability being one of the parts of our life. It's not, I think in this case, it's really not always about stability, financially stability, point it to an extent. It's also about planning, towards that thing and towards that goal to make it a stable life overall, and yes, to an extent, you are right that in today's day and age and time, both male, female, husband, wife, are required, and also due to the circumstances, they are, to lead a comfortable life, comfortable and adequate life, you have to have financial stability. But again, when it comes to, you cannot like always generalize that, in every household it works the same way. Some households, like you said, like we had a discussion earlier, the females are probably the breadwinners and men are comfortably fine, being homemakers as well. And there are some households, vice versa, where males are the head and, breadwinners and women are comfortable staying home. So I have to look at the larger picture where there's not always the case and where I cannot generalize, but primarily breadwinners are men or women either. But also look at the household, like I said earlier, in the rural parts of Nepal, where the real Nepalese, where the struggling Nepalese population group, right? They don't have a choice. Where I have to respect that and say that their women are not the breadwinners, of the family, and males are. And with respecting that, they have to, because that's how the circumstance has provided them, and there's no winning out of it or fighting with it, where women can suddenly embrace the breadwinner winning position of the family because of the circumstance that they've brought up with their upbringing and how they are raised, to be more, sunny, like female, to be soft, subtle, and shy, culture, cliches, the ruler part of the Nepal that they have to abide to it, and not that one woman who's a little aware and educated from any background, overnight change overnight change. We have to respect that, and respecting the women in more exposed and adaptive, flexible society, like where we were brought up in ways, we do not always agree to the fact that only one person should be a breadwinner. I totally believe that both should be financially stable. It's where a woman is equally putting the share and effort and hard work that a man is doing, and the man is equally putting the share and hard work that a woman is. And an exchange of role is so important, that maybe one time a woman can wash dishes, or another time a man can cook, or help each other when it comes to even kitchen responsibilities, to working responsibilities, to even raising a child. I believe that it's really important that financially stable both goes to female as well as males.
Yes,
you cannot, in this competitive world, survive without being financially stable from both genders.
Yeah.
It is
also, not every marriage, have a happy ending. If there was a divorce, then if the female is not financially stable, she's going to have a very difficult life, right? So I think it's like I wouldn't say that you got to have a certain amount of money in your bank account, or you should own a house and a car to get married, but you should at least have the potential to earn a good living in the future. Like if I was to look for a boy for my daughter, I wouldn't look at him based on his financial status. I would look at his future earning potential, like the future value, because I want that person to be hardworking, I want that person to be loving, caring, and I don't want my daughter to depend on that guy, my son-in-law, I want them to work together and then grow rich together,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I was always looking at the future value of that child, that boy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly,
Right.
well said. Like, we should definitely look at the core values of the future projection, a future forecast of a potential partner, be it for a daughter or a son, definitely. And I think that's something that I would, or my father would also pursue as well, But yes, of course, when it comes to core values of course, the stability, family values, and education, say, to bring that base. Because it's very difficult in this competitive world by not just thinking about that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, having said that, you still there are families in Nepal where um, especially the ones coming from a higher socioeconomic background, they want their sons to get married when they lost direction in their life. A little bit, there was only he will come on the right track. And because they come from a well-to-do family, and they don't even want their daughter-in-laws to work, there's still these kind of families in Nepal, right?
Which is very wrong, I think. A very wrong approach to, I think, very, very wrong approach of dealing with marriage, and thinking that one woman, someone else's daughter, they also have a daughter, when someone else's daughter comes in the family, will resolve their problem. The responsibility, okay, now you're married, like you said, now we don't have any tension problem. So it's not the woman's responsibility or the daughter-in-law's responsibility to change their son or to, desirably make them a better human, when from the core values, from the upbringing, there is a hole, there is a stain in the core values of the upbringing, where the mother and the father hasn't taught their sons to respect this, that there's someone else's daughter or their wife the way they probably would have respected their mom or daughter. I think core values for upbringing my wrongs. And this is the case for females as well as males, I know. But mostly, like you said, males not Puna's answer, because obviously, females are never like, tend to get married in like probably in a situation where, केही चीज बिग्रिरहेछ हातबाट बिग्रिरहेछ, so let's get her married. त्यस्तो usually case हुँदैन. It's always mostly males now, because we still live in a patriarchal society where males are given more freedom. So that is why the case happens, So keeping that and respecting that in mind, that I think it's very wrong approach of marriage, where mothers of their sons, whoever designated these kind of sons in society are, I think it's a very wrong approach, where the mother rather needs to stand up and solve that issue before they get their son married, because you can't like spoil someone else's life or some other daughter's, because like someone else's daughter is also like your daughter. You need to respect that as human being, and that's the basic core value that is a very wrong way of approach, and they should be held accountable for such decisions. Where broken marriages happen, and like you said, it doesn't end well. So that's a very wrong approach. Completely not agree to it, and like you said, I don't and I wouldn't entertain any kind of such nonsense decisions, because I'm raised to be an independent person with an independent frame of mind, and respect that of the other family as well. I think that kind of ideal partner and family would be approachable.
Right, sure. Yeah, I think based on my experience, I still feel that, probably there is a right time to get married, right age, and I think the right age is under 30, right? But still, as after listening to you, I think I understand where you're coming from. The right age could be just a mate. It depends on your priorities, right? So if you don't want to have a kid, you can get married anytime, right? You can get married when you're ready. You could be in your 40s even, right? So I think, it depends on your priority, and the most important thing is you have to find the right partner. You can't just like get married with anyone just because you want to get married, and the biological clock is ticking, right? You got to put yourself out there, you got to be, right? And I think, if I was your matchmaker, I think I would really vouch for you. You are definitely, the most eligible bachelors in Australia, in Nepal at the moment, right? So.
It's a business after ethical decision making. So actually family and relationship and commitment. So for me, this was my ethical decision making, to leave it and to begin a better and brighter and an amazing beginning, which I am in and a part of it. Today, sure. Like you said,
to the happier days ahead.
There's already happier days, and there is already one. So, and like you said, you've been repeating that. It kind of makes me laugh. But about the eligible bachelor thing, I'm sure, like you said, there is definitely the real man out there, and I always say this, and I'm going to say it out here too as well, openly, that, if someone in your life came for a reason, if it isn't like something that you want to find for as a destiny or love, it was a lesson and an experience, And I think that unworthy man or woman, in my case would be the man, where that person has actually carved the pavement for the best man to come, definitely in the future. So definitely look forward for that and for amazing, lucrative days ahead.
Right. Yeah, that's really good. I really respect your and admire your positive, spin you put into your past, right? And that's how you should be, so you're so positive and so forward thinking. That's really admirable, right? So Ivana, like
And to
think,
also add to that, I think family ko pani, parents ko pani major values hundo रहेछ कि त्यसमा, when people escape from the reality, because that's the truth that I'm portraying right now, whatever I said, because I don't need to hide or justify anything. Like, I wouldn't answer your question unless, it's something that is truthful and honest, but you're asking me an honest question where I have to give an honest answer, so there's nothing to hide here. यस्तो मान्छेहरू भाग्नुपर्छ दौडिनुपर्छ or hide, which where people have their darker side, and where families have run away to actually, instead of facing the reality, they kind of go away and kind of hibernate, or kind of run from their fears. Because if I have nothing to justify, why should I not face the public, or face you, or face, for example, anyone, so there's nothing to hide. And at the end of the day, a person who is ethical and truthful is always ready to face the public or the camera. And I think that comes as core values that my family has raised me to. And I think those parents who don't raise their children like that, I think it's unworthy for them to be parents out there. It's really important that your parents give you the brighter side of your failure than just talk about your failure or your problems, to give you the solution. And for me, that's how I have been the major solution of my problem in my past relationship. Is I found it through my maternal side of my family and my parents. So I think parents out there need to be really supportive and great listeners to children out there to, make them understand the prospect. So that comes at the end of the day of giving an ethical meaning to it.
Right, sure. Just one thing I want to know, actually, like when you decided to get married, like you were quite young, probably in your mid-20s, right? It was straight after you becoming Miss Nepal. Was there like a social pressure or family pressure? It was, I think, arranged marriage, right?
Sorry?
It wasn't an arranged marriage?
It was like 50-50, to be honest.
Yeah. So I think there's a lesson for the parents as well. Like, when you are arranging a marriage, you got to look at, like, it has to be the right time as well. You can't just, get your daughter or son married just because you want them to get married.
Yeah, definitely. No, respecting that, of course. Like societal pressure of a Nepal, it's very prominent. It's an external factor. How do I say this? It's like already there, So, but then it was more of a 50-50. So, it was. I don't know if I want to go into details of that because there's no point. But it definitely came from the male's end of the family, the approach of the proposal, and. I don't know.
You don't need to more. I think it's like let's limit.
Yeah. But you could say, I wanted to do an engagement, but the blaming game would say, it'll never end.
Exactly. There's always
but I think that's how I think question. Just to simply, I think there shouldn't be any societal, family, or partners' pressure to get married. One thing I learned from my past is, no one should enforce or kind of manipulate. In my case, obviously from the partners and family, but in any case, it shouldn't be enforced or kind of
Yeah, exactly, sure. And when you now start dating, or maybe finding your potential next partner, I think you have to be transparent, but at the same time, you don't want to be talking about your past, experience in so much detail. I think it's better to just bury it.
Yeah, right. There's no point giving so much power and importance to the history that is not there.
Yes. But having said that, you can also take it positively, because now you have the experience. It's just like going for a job interview. If I was an employer, I would rather hire someone who already has some experience.
Yes.
Right. In your case, also the same thing. Like you have the experience, you learn from the experience, and now you're so positive, and you're looking forward to a brighter future with a partner. So, which is very important, right? So, for you know, for you to actually find that ideal partner, I'm sure there's still some hurdles you have to go through because the society in Nepal is still a little bit conservative at some some parts of the society. Like it's like if a man gets divorced, he will be getting married within like 6 months to a year. But the society doesn't encourage a divorced female to get married. Um, I think this is a very bad culture. I think we should change this. Uh, we should really be encouraging both men and women to start a new life. Everyone deserves a second chance. What do you think?
To really understand, the part of this question is definitely not very progressive when it comes to the reality today, but capturing the changing realities of today's times, definitely we have to focus on the fact that there are many women out there successfully who have gotten remarried and had a happy leading life after separation.
Yeah.
So marriage, any which way, is in general a celebration of love between two individuals, rather. And so it really this question implies definitely in a situation where women less likely find love after their separation, or it's very difficult in a Nepali society, which to an extent now might be inaccurate, but to a place where they live in a conservative and a patriarchal families and households, that could be still prominent too, and it's
Right.
inevitable. But also, this question might also ignore the fact where women might not choose to get married at all, or men might not choose to get married at all. They might just want to lead a companionship or partner life, rather. And living in relationship is something that is definitely not entertained in Nepal, right? But in Western culture it is, and also same-sex couples could marry as well as get divorced. But thinking about capturing the changing realities, women definitely have a little more difficulty in the soft land still prominent,
Right.
but I'm not the first woman here to speak about it after a termination of my marriage. So I have to respect the audience views and in general saying that it's really important that you believe in love and the second chance in love. And like I said, if your past came here to, kind of thought that he might come to destroy you, but rather, you became more successful and you became more worthy of your time and effort, the best one is still yet to come. So definitely you have to believe in the second chance in love. I do support that,
Yeah.
And like you said, certainly there's no perfect age for marriage, but one man or woman needs to find their worth. And that self-discovery phase is the time gap for the second chance in love, because at that time you will be able to discover yourself by that time, and know where you stand. And no one should settle for less, definitely respecting everyone's self-dignity, family values, self-worth, and nothing should be compromised for an unworthy person and their time and effort and your time and effort. So be it man or woman. But yes, I do believe, to answer the question, second chance in love and life, and definitely encourage separated men and women and all genders to, find love again. But I cannot speak for everyone.
Right.
But I can say that people who deserve second chances are really the ones who know how to respect and value the trust that is placed upon them, and people who break it again, having the trust matter still there, don't deserve a second chance. I have to speak that way because I have to be ethical, Definitely people where things could work out in a relationship based on trust, respect, and value. from both partners. But where there is any of that is not there, they don't deserve a second chance, and no one should. And this applies to all genders. People who really treat marriages as business transactions instead of a holy, lifelong companionship and matrimony do not at all deserve a second chance. And I think this goes out very loud and clear because we are all educated and well aware and independent in today's day and age that we know where to find happiness. And so you need to find happiness in that way, So in that case, where marriages are treated as business transactions, not respected and abided as a holy matrimony, no person, no man or woman deserves that second chance. And when we talk about second chances, I really want to impose this as a highlight of this answer to your question, karma. Why do we worship God? Why do we believe in the, universal truth that truth wins evenally? No matter how much dukha pare pani bhन्छ नि dukha parda आत्तिनु हुँदैन सुख parda मात्तिनु हुँदैन भने जस्तै हैन everyone's day and time will come because God is watching, and karma plays a very major role where you learn from your prior experiences and mistakes at the same time, whether it be anywhere, whether it be love, relationship, commitment, profession, life, career, it does play a role. I think what goes around eventually finds your way around, it comes back and bites you, So be careful, I think, of how you treat another human being anywhere, in any profession, relationship. The law of karma really governs all these relationships, really important, and God is watching. So really be careful. That's what I say. Do not, I think, use any person for anyone and for any, I think, kind of reason, because if you think no one's watching you, God is, right? So you always need to treat another human being as they are worth for, as they are valuable for. Otherwise, don't waste their time and energy, because there are better things to do. So if you want to be ready for a second chance in love, I really believe in the law of karma, and eventually it'll come to me. I know it, that if you do good deeds and if you believe in love, if you believe in second chance, it'll find its way to you. It's universal truth, and I'm sure it'll find their way to me as well. In this case, it comes to life partners, so I'm sure he will find his way too in there. So that's what I believe in my career as well. If you work hard, if you keep working hard, not waiting for the fruit of your, if you're not going to wait for the fruit of your result of working hard. That's what my dad always says. Kaam garde gara phalko,
That's what Bhagwan Krishna said.
Sorry? Yeah.
Don't worry about the outcome. Just do your work.
Yeah.
That's what do your work, and the good outcome will be there.
Very appropriately, that don't worry about the fruit, or worry about the hard work that you put in, because there is always God to judge and people to judge that who is right or wrong. So, facing that reality, I believe in second chances in love eventually, because it will find its way.
Right.
And to every woman and man out there, it will find its way. There's a reason why that past happened in your life, and it carved the road to your future. And God sent the past who was unworthy for your potential in time, and for the best one to come.
Yeah, sure, exactly. That was a really good emotional response. I think you spoke from your heart, Evana.
Yes, I tried. Yes, it was.
Right.
It was something that.
Yeah.
That wasn't prepared to answer, but it had to come.
But listen to this. Yeah.
And also added to that, in second marriages, in these progressive realities, age definitely, probably to an extent, plays a role or not. But I think I'm not the first woman in a Nepali society to have made this decision prior to her experiences, whether it be toxic relationship or unethical marriages, living into an unethical marriage and coming out of it. I think there's no room for exceptions and improvement in second chances in in such relationships, like I said, where there's no importance of love, respect, and treated as business transactions. So the termination of marriage is the option for your betterment of life. And this implies to male, females, all genders out there, same sexes marriages, because if you are not mentally, physically, emotionally sound, you will not be able to look forward for a second man or a woman, because you'll think everyone is the same, and which is a very wrong concept. I cannot generalize. No one can, just because of your one unfruitful or toxic relationship in life. No one should generalize, because there are best and better men out there, I'm sure, and women out there, or to find second chance. So give that space for that room of improvement, for the second chance in love and marriage, because I believe in it, and I'm sure there is a way everyone should believe in it, and to give that room for improvement and a way for the best one to come is, I think, the amazing victory at the end of the day. Because it's not the past one, it's not the past that won at the end of the day. It's you who was victorious out of it and went for the best future that waits ahead for you.
Right, sure. As they say, everything happens for a reason. And as you rightly said, if the relationship's not working out, instead of, keeping you trapped in that toxic relationship, it's better to move on. Like, there's a better man or woman waiting for you out there. Life is too short to just, waste it on a bad relationship, right? And and I didn't say you are Nepal's one of the most eligible bachelors for just fun. I think you are really one. After talking to you today, I haven't spoken to you. I didn't know you personally. This is the first time I'm talking to you face to face, and I can tell confidently to my audience out there that you are this beautiful person with such great values, and good characteristics, right? I'm sure any man who will come into your life will actually, have you as an asset. Definitely, it will be a happy married life together, right? Again, I wish you all the best, Ivana, for sure. If you find, someone come into your life after watching this program, I will be so happy. I made a difference as well. I'll be able to change someone's life positively.
Sorry?
I will consider that I've been able to change someone's life positively.
Yes. At the end of the day, it matters to both of our perception of life that it's that one life that's going to impact, that you bring through kindness, love, and compassion. Okay? And that is this, or if this is the platform, be it, or I'm always ready and open to surprises. It's life is filled with surprises. So I take it very openly as a compliment, and then take it as an open, surprise. So if good ways or good wishes and good luck or a good man is there in my way to come, definitely will be open to wait with your surprised filled question out there.
So I think we had a very interesting chat today. It was an intellectual chat. And as they say, intelligence is more sexy than beauty.
Yes.
For both men and women, they find intelligence more sexy. Beauty is just superficial.
Yes.
Right? If you can really have the intellectual chat with someone, I think, you really enjoy each other's company.
Yes.
Right. And I think you've shown your intelligence today, for sure. You really know what you're talking about, Though there's an age difference of about 15, 16 years between you and me, I don't think that you are belonging to that millennial, generation. And the way you think is very different to the way I think. I think we are on the same page in most issues. Having said that, when it comes to the right age to get married, I'm still a little bit conservative. Maybe I will think that, my daughters, both of them probably should get married before they are 30,
Yes.
right?
That is your
That's because
perception.
I want to be
I
like
can't change
grandfather
your
sooner.
perception.
Yeah,
That's for individual for itself. Every
yeah,
individual has the right to have a perception
right.
and perspective.
Sure. At the same time, I think you made some very valuable points. Like, it's the right time or the right age, just a myth. It all depends on when you are ready, when you find the right partner. Don't just get married due to social pressure. You know, or don't put off your marriage because you're not financially stable yet.
Yes.
Right? And don't think that just because there are these technological advancements happening, like you can freeze your egg, you can do IVF. Uh, you know, uh, don't use those as an excuse to put off your marriage, right? Can I
Yes.
can say this?
And
Those options are there just to help you,
yeah.
But those options are not the first priorities. Shouldn't be the first priorities, right?
Yeah, they're not always the first priority. Definitely, to
Yeah.
work out a healthy relationship in the most natural way definitely is the best, combination. And also, when it comes to like you said, to people out there, who think, okay, if there could be other people out there, women out there, men out there, who probably married at the wrong time, the wrong person, the wrong energy, but it's fine. The important thing is, have you come out of it positively and believe that there is a second chance of love, and really deal with the fact. And some couples may choose, even women probably could be content and happy without a man. There could be choices like that as well, respecting that, and for men too. But, at the end of the day, I think companionship is important to flourish in nature. It is important. So
Exactly.
I do support the idea and believe in second love, and also important that you come out of I'd say an unsuccessful love, but I'd say a love that doesn't deserve your time and energy. You have to come out of it peacefully, even if you put everything in the past and that person in the trash and as a past. You come out of it and revise the truth about the future and embrace it with so much confidence and positivity that eventually it'll find its way to love.
Yeah, that's the way to go. I think we see so many.
It didn't work because it didn't work for a reason.
Yeah.
Because the best one is yet to come.
Yes.
So.
Yes. It's better to move on than to stay in that relationship if it's toxic. We see so many relationships, probably in a generation before mine. They stay married, but they keep fighting. Ever. Always. That's no good. But at the same time, we should not be encouraging divorce. You should make marriages work as much as possible. Marriages need a lot of hard work. Compromise. It needs a lot of, you need to work on it, right?
And it's only possible to work, like I said, if it's an ethical relationship. Definitely, there shouldn't be a possibility of separation or termination. There should be encouragement of holy matrimony, definitely, in a case where it's, like you said, worth the time and commitment.
Sure. And if it doesn't work out, don't take it as a bad experience or a failure. Take it as a lesson. And then everyone should deserve a second chance. And second chance is always better, because both the parties in the wedlock will work their best to make it a success this time around, right? And also because you are experienced, you will not commit those mistakes you committed in the past. I think it will be more fruitful and stronger relationship when you are married for the second time, right? And everyone should get this chance. No man or woman out there should stay single because of societal pressure, right? I think our society needs to change. It needs to be more modern, more compromising, compassionate. Every man and woman deserves a companion, a lover, a partner in their life. and it doesn't matter how old they are. You could still get married in your nursing home. In Australia that happens. Do you know that?
What?
People move into nursing home.
Nursing home. Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, like in the 80s and 90s. So old, and they find a partner and they get married.
That's interesting.
I'm gonna ask you a little bit sensitive and a personal question now, if you don't mind. I know you got married at a very young age, and it was kind of an arranged love marriage, and your marriage was short-lived. So I wanted to know whether there was some societal pressure, or maybe you decided to get married without giving much consideration to your decision, and that's why it had such an outcome. What's your opinion about it? I'm not asking you to blame anyone.
Yes, yes.
You know,
It's a personal. There's a personal story. Everyone has their share of a personal story, and it's a very important question because, like we talked about, the whole depth of the marriage, of how it should be like consensus decision making, neutral, and with two families and two partners. And मेरो केसमा चाहिँ ठ्याक्कै चाहिँ त्यस्तो मिल्दैन. It wasn't exactly like that, to be precise. It was very short-lived, as you said, to even be called a marriage for a very short time. And, everything happened very much in a rush. Even the arrangement itself in the beginning, how it was so fast and in a rush. And more than here blaming Mandapani, it's about the patriarchal society. At the end, it comes, and I have to point it out there because to women out there, even to men, like when who they partner through pressure or manipulation to marriage or any intention to get you married into, that keeping it aside, so this is a very natural phenomena that happens in Nepali society and culture. I'd like to give more more light to this, basically, that for me, it was my personal share of story as being, I was planning to just, because it was only very short term of relationship that converted fast into marriage. And Nepali society ma kasto bhane aba ketako bata proposal aune haina, very naturally it comes in, not like in Western culture where the man's decisions are a lot influenced from the man's family, from the male partner. So it was similar to mine. It was like the decision of proposal continuously more than 2 times came from the male's end, and there was a certain family pressure their end, and societal pressure continuously. And then my plan was to actually go do my MBA in the States, and come back later and think about marriage. But, life doesn't happen as planned. So सबैको लाइफमा हुन सक्छ यो, मेरो मात्रै दुःख ठुलो या मेरो मात्रै दुःख गाह्रो होइन, सबैजनाको त्यो भन्दा गरिरो ठुलो दुःखहरू हुन सक्छ हैन. Everyone for their problem, and everyone stays in their share of shoes of problem. So speaking about my personal life reflection, I was planning to just get engaged, So, but then due to a lot of family pressure bindings and a lot of male families' pressure that they wanted in a certain intention to get it married early, like जुन तपाईले even पहिला यो कुरालाई तपाईले reflect गर्नुहुन्छ, connect गर्नुहुन्छ, that अब कसैको especially sonलाई हैन, just सुध्रोस्, राम्रो होस्, so that they can change over perspective, they become a better person भनेर चाहिँ, to get someone else's daughter indulged in it is not the daughter's or the daughter's family's responsibility. So it happened to me in a rush. That's another thing with my personal story. Planning to have had got engagement first, it didn't work out that way, because in the Nepali society, a lot of pressure from the family end came. So it was a societal pressure, definitely. And I think a lot of the male partner as well as the family's pressure that to be into it. So for women out there, to be really understanding the right age or the best age to get married or the ideal time to get married, as I said, there is no, but also there is an ideal age and time for decision and circumstance as well. So, my only accountability of that blunder was not to be keeping my career, and my personal desire and passion first, and just kind of, being persuaded by the male's, like kind of decision and the male's family's decision. Usually in Nepal, that's how it works. But I think we can change that definition now, and we can slowly come into a common agreement where both partners are agreeing at the same time to get married without societal pressure, family pressure. So otherwise, मेरो marriage हुँदैन थियो होला के, because wasn't for the male side of the pressure that had come immensely for the proposal, the marriage wouldn't have happened. And I think it would be a different space and different time. But there is no point talking about the past. So to women out there, it's really important that you decide you don't become like indecisive, and then you're not able to decide.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Do you blame yourself to some extent as well because you were not mature enough?
Someone has to, if the other person is not taking the accountability, right? One person needs to, the mature person needs to take the accountability that, it has to not be just one-way street. It's a two-way street, If the one person is not taking the accountability, I do believe as a very civilized human being that I should take the accountability of my mistake to have, had that prior, commitment of the marriage where I was not ready for, or the not at the right time, But the koi manse, mistake but after accountability but at least one person has to take the accountability and have a peaceful ending to the termination of the marriage, so that the day forward, he or she will be having a good future to it. So it was supposed to be engagement, but it turned out to be a marriage, unfortunately, So, but yeah, that's the end of it. So I think the women out there really need to know that, when is the right time that you feel you're stable to make that decision of commitment. Just because of patriarchy, societal pressure, and family pressure, no one should decide, I think. Right. And at least own up to it and see a better direction of it is really important. अनि अर्को कुरा चाहिँ कस्तो भने यही क्रममा हुन्छ नि कसैको मन दुखाउनु हुँदैन भन्छ, कसैको चित्त दुखाउनु हुँदैन भन्छ होइन. स्पेसली आमाहरू भनौँ न, छोरीहरू आमाहरू सबैको आमा छोरीहरू होइन, whether be daughter in law or sister in law or daughter whatever होइन, सबैको मन हुन्छ. आमाको चित्त दुखाएको, आमालाई रुवाएको, it's a not only a heavy price paid in this life, but maybe many lives to come. So people need to be really wise. Be very careful on the outcome definitely is not going to be at all, not only fruitful, it will be based on karma. So I do believe that whatever happened in the past, led to be in the past, the future right now is to never hurt or use, or especially to the mothers out there, not let those mothers down who've raised so much of their heart, their tears, and so much of energy to build a daughter.
Basically, don't play with someone's life.
Yeah, independent, बनाउनलाई कोही पनि छोरीले तपाईको छोरीहरू छ, and how much of a role a mother plays, and how much would a parent be hurt if someone's daughter, is in that condition, and how you grow out of it strong. So, it's always a karmic connection, and intentionally, amaku mandrai bhane, even the God is going to look out for the worst there, and that's where the karmic connection comes. So I believe in that. So giving the blame shift, owning up to the accountability of any mistake that you make in life is important. And in society, so females being emotionally strong, than the males, and then males being emotionally strong than the females. That's why they can't shed tears and all of that. So, but I do believe that the weaker males are the males who would run away from these tears and facing the reality and taking the accountability. So I think you have to take the accountability of anything you make in life. Do अनि अर्को कुरा चाहिँ अब जस्तै females भन्छ नि, जस्तै males are the breadwinners of the family. यही societal pressure मा कुरा गर्नु पर्दाखेरि females can either break or make family भन्छ नि. I really believe in that, because it's really takes a toll, and a lot of energy. It's for a female to really make a family, bind a family, a daughter, son, husband, partner, So females take a major role, and the females out there who really want to break the families, it's it's just like shameful upon them, and we shouldn't support these kind of actions, which would lead to not only termination but also two families to break down. I think it's not only shameful. I think those women shouldn't be even considered as civilized women. When you can actually confront that, you were the person behind it, but that when taking the accountability, being a woman. And to another woman, if you're going to feel your virtue of being a woman and your quality of being a woman, then these kind of women should not be even, given any sort of position, power, or any certainty of, respect in the society. I think किनकि महिलाले नै महिलाको खुट्टा पनि तान्छ कतिचोटि हैन अनि यस्तो एक्सनलाई हामीले प्रोत्साहन दिनु हुँदैन when women break families, because they come right back at them and bite, because at the end of the day you live in the same society. What you do in this life will stay with you in the grave and wherever you go. So even to males out there who break families, when it comes to prayers, like you said, that we talked about earlier. And I think you openly कुरा गर्नुपर्छ because यस्तो चिजलाई भयो छोड्यो कम्प्रोमाइज गर भनेर लिन्छ नि त हैन तर यसरी चाहिँ लाइफ जानु हुँदैन कि when there is time, when there is energy and effort, when you're young, you need to identify and then come.
And also you have to make the culprit realize the mistake as well.
Yes. And I'm sure, when a wiser woman leaves the relationship, right? Because the man deserves the unworthy woman. That's where he stays. So obviously the wiser woman is out of the picture. So that's what they deserve, at the end of the day.
Very well said.
So it's not about only forgiving and forgetting and giving the culprit the realization of the mistake, because these people will never be able to realize mistakes. These people are basically the stain in the society that remains, because they really don't care about their self-respect. They kind of, they want to trade with their self-respect, trade with the families, feelings, emotions of families, daughters, mothers, and even to those parents who let that happen to their sons or daughters, who would, motivate and support these kind of relationships outside of the household. त्यो भनौँ न प्यारेन्ट्सको नाममा त त्यो धप्पा नै हो, that is such a bad parenting and bad base of family values. And one thing we really have to point it out, we have to raise our second generation and children in a more broad-minded, unethical environment. And indeed, like you said, the culprit needs to be identified. I mean, there is no way that they wouldn't be identified, because it's very natural that the truth is going to come in front of the picture. But these women are supposed to be probably the degradation of any women's civilization out there. So we really need to keep that in mind, that women can break or make families, but they can choose to leave as well. A wiser woman, a smarter and probably a more highly ethical woman will leave it and let go of the unworthy man, and obviously give it to the unworthy woman that they deserve. That's how it ends, to give into a societal pressure and keeping your personal happiness before societal pressure.
Sure. I think, in Nepali culture, it's a common practice, there are a lot of women out there, especially the housewives. They talk too much, and then when you talk too much, then you end up saying something that you're not supposed to say, and then that's how the toxicity spreads in the family, I guess. So sometimes it's best to usually talk less.
Yeah, it depends. Unless if you're talking and taking gossip like housewives, even I think working women take small portions of family drama as everyday gossips and make it such a big deal. There is no point. But there are issues that needs to be highlighted to make a family together in a binded system, and these issues are undershadowed. One woman or man should take it out. Like you said, keeping and giving so much attention to gossips is a waste of time. And I think idle mind is the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
If you find something productive in the house to do, I think these gossips will obviously go down. But on Sunny when one man or woman they're in a committed relationship or marriage or whatever, and the third person is always how do I say, not only a no-no, but a Nepali bhashama, it's like it's not a very good word. I don't know what is in English. Basically, I know. A kept man or a kept woman, like basically outside of the house. It's definitely never going to have that respect and dignity in the society. That if the person chooses the way it is to live, too bad, God and karma has its way of returning it back. Obviously, and kept person outside of Rakhel, to be honest, in that way. यस्तो चाहिँ परिभाषालाई हामीले प्रोत्साहन दिनु हुँदैन मात्र हैन सोसाइटीमा. This needs to be abolished. Otherwise, don't get married. Why are you wasting someone else's energy and effort and time and someone else's family's time and intention? You gotta be very authentic, in life, and that's where I stand when it comes to giving of a societal pressure and your personal wants and demands that you want to fulfill in life. It's like a balance गर्नुपर्दा चाहिँ गाह्रै हुन्छ के अहिलेको competitive how do I say this, emerging to keep up to date society ma हैन. यो गर्दा पनि नहुने, त्यो गर्दा पनि नहुने. If you get married at the late times, it's not right. If you get married early, that's not right. There's always a myth dilemma about the best age to get married. But when you choose to do, it has to be in the most ethical form without hurting someone.
There has to be 100% loyalty from both sides. Okay? If there's no loyalty, don't get married.
Yeah, very, very.
Married to someone and have a second woman or man outside of the relationship. It's not ethical. It's a crime.
Yeah. They're actually like, it's crime. Yeah, basically, like you said, like crime, like manually, like it's a crime, robbery and all that. It's a crime, like a relationship. And it is still like any, you have to choose to not only let go, but terminate by also keeping the society aware that, this is what kind of person that person is. अनि भन्न डराउनु हुँदैन कि किनकि maybe you never know अर्को मान्छेलाई पनि त्यही झुटो आश्वासन र हैन त्यो झुटो बाइन्डिङमा गरेर अगाडि बढाइरा हुन्छ. So at least when someone speaks, it's very clarified that, not only this person is strong-willed and a strong-minded woman or a man, but it is that this person is a civilized human being. Definition. That's because what is there that we take when we go in our great bed, it's just relationships and memories and family and love. And if you can't do the least of any of those in one life that you get, then you're like a coward, basically, and you're not a human being. You're basically inhuman when it comes to living life once.
Yeah.
So you have to make the most out of it by not fucking people.
Yeah, definitely. Well said, Evana. I mean, life's too short to be stuck in a toxic relationship, where you don't get that value you deserve, I think you've done a very good job. You moved on. You're looking forward to a brighter future. That's the way to go.
Yes. Thank you, Dai. And at the end, also need to family पनि एकदम supportive हुनै पर्छ है. लास्टमा गएर to so many daughters and sons out there, like parents are not supportive. They're always like, कहाँ हुन्छ, adjust गर, compromise गर, हैन?
Especially our society, because there's always this blame the victim mentality, okay?
Yeah.
When it comes to
खेल्ने नै हैन के. Yeah.
It's like women is women's enemy, okay, in most of the cases, because it will be the women who will be blaming the victim again most of the time.
And there are males also like that. And even like if I talk about narcissist behavior, and the red flags that you don't, gaslighting, it's the so different kind of toxic relationship cycles. If you know about it, gaslighting, or they're pretty interrelated and interlinked to one another. Once identify the red flags in a relationship, one should Leave it, terminate, and not give it a second chance. And second chance to that relationship. Rather use and utilize that in a better human being, अनि त्यस्तो केटाहरू आउने बेलामा पनि, or केटीहरू आउने बेलामा पनि, I think one should be able to understand that that's the end to it. It was experienced, and you put a full stop to it and live a better and healthier life.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you should work on a relationship first before you put an end to it. I'm sure
of course
try and find a solution. Even in the Western world, you can't have divorce straight away. You got to be separated first by law. You have to be separated and live separately for a year, and then again, you got to try and patch up. If it's not possible, then only the next stage is divorce. Right? So I think we can't take divorce that lightly as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of process to it, of multiple processes that only people who've gone through it know about it. Definitely a multiple process to it. And Nepal mata jhanai garo, so it's not like baira in Nepal to be well informed and well respected to that space and area, it's very difficult. तर त्यो societal pressure ma aera मेरो personal story ma, my parents being binded into the male perspective of getting married and taking the proposal and accepting the proposal definitely got a lot of thing in the rush, without even thinking and aligning it. So happens, but धेरै चाँडै भएर धेरै चाँडै सकियो पनि भन्नु पर्ला हैन. That's how we should be taking the spirit out of it. The sportsman spirit that if something happens in a rush, and if it also ended in a fast track, it is that for a reason, because it was not worth your energy, time, and effort. So you have to take it as a victory.
Yeah, cool, Evana. Some fine words of wisdom.
Yes, thank you. I definitely think that, and I think we are not advocating here of anything like, termination of relationship immediately is important or is the priority. Working a marriage out, केही पनि भनौँ न, एउटा वास्नी हामी भन्छ नि, एउटा saying फुटाउनलाई त एकछिनमै फुट्छ नि त, just धेरै समस्या, तर बनाएर बन्धनमा बाँधेर राख्न, त्यो respectively, त्यसलाई keeping it aligned and together is the most difficult task. But if you're able to keep that aligned and together, why not? The marriages are beautiful, and it still is, but when the cracks are already produced in the beginning stage of the relationship,
and when the crack is cheated, lack of loyalty, then I think it's not mendable.
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to give it a mending or a second chance or a second opportunity. Like you said, तर बनाउनु पर्दाखेरि हाम्रो parents देखेको छ, हाम्रो parents गर्नु भएको छ, तपाईले आफ्नो relationshipमा everyone does it, no? Like even smallest arguments, disagreements, they came to bigger, larger picture of family drama. To keep all of that aligned is really difficult, and it's only in a case where there's trust, mutual respect, loyalty, ethics, and core family values respected. In any of that case, which any of these is not present, if the cracks are already found, one should always pursue to the end of your, termination of the relationship, and pursue in one's happiness, because there is no having a bitter, thing aligned to the past, because that past is there for a reason to be bitter, for a sweeter present. So you got to just leave it and let go. But okay, so I have a question. Since your father, or yourself, and have two daughters, amazing, I'm sure, talented and everything. What would be your views on, their perspective on choosing their boyfriend or life partner and eventually marriage? Would you be flexible if they even had a failed relationship? You'd be supportive about it. How would you go forward with it?
Right. Personally, I actually want my daughters to have boyfriend when they are at the right age. Maybe when they get to the high school,
the 16, 17 years of age, I want them to have boyfriend, because I think in a Western society, it's important to have a boyfriend for confidence as well.
Really?
You know? Yeah. But I would not really encourage them to, like maybe, slip around. Maybe I would like tell them to save the virginity for the husband, right? That might be sound a bit conservative, but that's my personal, belief, right? Um, and as I said earlier, I would actually advise them to find a boyfriend for long term, not just for short term fun, and then find that boyfriend who will look after them in the future, who will be successful in the future. Someone
Why would you say like your daughters will be confident by having a boyfriend though? They could be confident without a boyfriend.
I mean, I'm not saying that they must have a boyfriend, but what I'm saying is I will not stop them from having a boyfriend. Like, based on your experience, good and bad, do you want to give any advice, relationship advice to your, to the young generation out there?
I think being single right now, it's really important that you discover yourself first. For me, it was that, to discovering my potential, discovering the potential in my career, family values, I think profession. And I think after that comes the time when you're emotionally mature to give space and time to another partner, to a man, in life, where the person can value your time and energy and your work. And that's when I think the relationship begins for me as an experience. And I'm not in the best, or I'd say an perfect example, an expert to give obviously advice, but through a very young age of experience of hurdles and being successful out of it and being able to take it as a victorious past and an amazing present. I think I definitely would say that only once dwell on the matter of relationship and finding the ideal man or woman out there, when you feel not only you're financially, emotionally stable, but you have that much of sacrifice to be able to compromise your, I think, selfishness and be able to kind of expand that selfishness to kind of, multiply that energy to another man, and then you'll find that special space for relationship. And I think trust being one of the most important part of any relationship. I think any relationship would not succeed without trust. And one needs to respect and value the trust that an individual has placed on him or her, and not degrade it instead over time, kind of cultivate it, nurture it to produce the best flower. Because if you're meeting in the budding stage, it has to blossom into the flower. For that, trust, respect, honesty, transparency, ethics, roles, family is important. And having had, obviously, just because of one unfruitful toxic relationship doesn't mean I've never had beautiful experiences in my past prior relationships when I was in the States too as well, so learning from that.
Do you have many boyfriends in the States?
No, I mean, many,
Okay.
but having had few good human being and men in my life, in the past, I would say definitely there were amazing, beautiful human being in past relationship that I had. It's so important that I talk it out openly here, because just because of that one unfruitful experience doesn't mean, and I've had the opportunity to always kind of interact with people from diverse backgrounds. When I went to study abroad in Europe as well as in America, I mean, States was second home to me, and it was so easy for me, because of my maternal side of the family and have always had support. But also having had beautiful, amazing experience at few time, I believe, sometimes you really need to understand and not worry about the present condition when it comes to materialistic financial state. Sometimes that is not worth calculated to find a better human being. It's always a materialistic mind versus a beautiful human being. So at your 20s, if you can, I'd really say that, go for the beautiful human being. And once you're settled and financially, very much mature to find the ideal man, you will definitely find that alignment with a man too when he is as equal to you when it comes to financially, emotionally, socially. So it's really important that I really believe that trust was the really amazing ingredient for successful relationships.
Yeah.
And respecting other person's space was also a very beautiful past lesson of mine. Respecting that space and cultivating that space, never enforcing it when it comes to career, passion, profession. And so all the women out there in their 20s, especially, make the best out of a better, beautiful human being that you might be missing out there, So, because then that time the pressure, you can explore and experiment on your inhibitions. So I think look out for the beautiful human being, because that's one thing I look out there for. So I think it's really find a beautiful human being with heart, mind, and soul at the same time, encouraged to respect space and abilities and skills.
Yeah, sure. So to summarize those points, so the guy has to be trustworthy, most important, right? Transparent, and then beautiful from inside. A nice human being,
Humble,
humble, down to earth,
and respect the space.
respectful. Yeah. How about the physical appearance? I think that's also important.
Yeah,
Like,
that point I was going to come later. So you definitely, looks is really important, of course, like one part, but then it's not the first in the list, but it is accountable for.
Yeah, sure. So Ivan, actually, I think we've had a very interesting chat. We covered so many things, right? I think we're about to finish off now, but I want to ask you one key question. As I said, you are one of the, most eligible bachelors in Nepal at the moment, and I'm sure you are also looking forward to finding that partner. So I wanted to ask you, if you had to put yourself out there in the market for a right groom, what would you look for in an ideal man?
Well, I think that'd be the highlight of our session, I guess.
Yeah, sure, it could be.
Right?
What would be your pitch?
Beauty, intelligence, loving, kindness, humanity, independent frame of mind. Obviously, humbleness and to be grounded as a human being is really important. And first of all, thank you for your humbleness of definitely finding a partner there. I don't know how much will that definitely work out, and I'm sure by the words of you and your confidence, I'm sure it's gonna probably be successful to an extent.
Yeah, let's hope for the best.
Your humbleness out there. Like I said, when it comes to perfect age of marriage, there is no, but like I said, also it's important that we don't settle for anything less than what you've already established as a human being. Also, keeping respect, dignity, and value, and compromising to an extent depending on the worth of the human being as well. But personally, to be honest, a child, since you're growing up as a daughter, and I'm sure you can relate, you have two daughters, your father like figure, your father like somewhat character, personality, charisma, rhythm, like especially the voice. I remember like with the powerful voice, the big apple, that is like the husky voice that, it's so.
You have a very husky voice. You sound a bit like a Bipasa Basu.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought I didn't have one, With there's something Tamil one. I said, Banu into your family na. Papa could just voice Papa them commanding and stuff. So
Right.
The boss, I think, consider a fairy tale one. And we can always live in fairy tale, like every daughter does. And why not? And so, idealistically, I think of a Prince Charming, like in a horse, they'll come in a carriage, all that.
Yeah.
Keeping that aside, it's the dream, like childhood. I think personally, I've always idolized Papa, like my dad, but also I knew over the time from 20s to transforming into 30s that it's practically somewhat impossible to find idealistic like my Papa when it comes to a partner.
Yeah.
But maybe somewhat similar to my Papa's characteristics, or at least closer to my brother's characteristics or my mama. So any male figure of the house, benchmark okay, Papa.
Right. Yes.
So when I'm sure you can relate, brother pani huna sakcha, I mean, so we're like, personally,
so maybe, two key things that you would looking for would be like successful and confidence. Like the confidence comes with success, and maybe using the voice one. So you said that the voice thing. I think you want someone with a commanding voice. That's also confidence,
I think confidence too, but personality really plays an important role in the Salaksamalai. About educated matre boy, like intelligent matre, exposed matre boy, personally approachable, people's personal, humble characteristics, adaptability characteristics, really as human being, or you could be an age man. But personally, if I would love someone in the future, to find someone who's an ideal partner or close to being ideal, I think obviously somewhat close to my father's characteristics, with personality, or education, or values, ethics, and I'm sure frame of mind. But understand it is definitely going to be impossible or difficult to find. And keeping that in mind, keeping that aside, also personally, a guy with, I think for me, good personality, a human touch personality, good education, who is stable in life, and really important, person who's healthy, nutrition, really focused, because I myself am into that. So I'm sure like workout, good workout body with physique appearance.
Someone with a broad chest, so you can put your head on the chest.
Maybe, like, why not? But
a six pack
with good physique, good structure, facial structure. I think sense of humor is really important for me.
Exactly. Yes, sense of humor is so important. You gotta be able to make people laugh.
Yeah, I will get easily bored otherwise. I'm a person who believes in sarcasm and having sarcasm as something that I'm
right. And I think you'll be the one who'll be talking most of the times.
Yeah, so, and I don't want to do that. I think I don't want to be the one talking all the time. So I guess it should be 50-50 boy. Why not? The personality, stability, command, life, family, the decision making, and then it's fine that a man could not always be strong and keta manchele pani ruma लाग्छ कहिले keta manchele pani काम चाहिन्छ हैन
you need that emotional as well.
Emotionally, weak, so that's fine, and you need a strong warrior woman to support in that case, and females out there, you need to support your father, brother, partner, husband, boyfriend, this okay, like idealistically the strong man definitely men who feel weak, and to be able to give the shoulder is really important. Well, I say the sense of humor really important. So someone who works out, someone who's got good body, physique, nutrition, man. I hate smokers and drinkers. That's one thing. I'm not sure if that's going to be actually feasible. I don't.
Okay, smokers these days people don't smoke that much. But drinkers, everyone drinks.
Social drinking is fine. Social drinking.
Social drinking,
social drinking is fine. But someone who's all of that and flexible at the end of the day, and encourages and respects their family values and mine as well from the core. A lot of intellect actually. This will go on and on. But at the end of the day, I would only get married to the person who really deserves my time. and it's vice versa for that person too as well. Who values you deeply as a human being. It's really important. Of traits, because obviously you would look for the similar traits if you are as the same, because everyone is different. So yeah, that's a long list.
How about cooking skills? Should he be good in the kitchen?
So why not? That would be a perk. It's not like I don't cook, but that would be a perk. I mean, obviously, cooking, exploring, adventure, traveling. Because I'm a traveler myself. I mean, अलिकति rigid हुन्छ नि जस्तै अब for me, like मैले पापादेखिको आफ्नो ठाउँमा छ तर मैले as a person अहिलेको day and age man, someone who just would wake up and expect everything on the table, or is just reading a newspaper and having a coffee and not having any sense of humored conversation to how the day is going or how the day is looking. It'd be too no for me, like someone who is flexible and welcoming to people, to society, everyone, like someone who's like fun loving, filled with humor. It's really important. So I think that's a long list.
All your requirements. I think we need a big.
Ryan likes to find one.
But I know, like you want all these things, but when you meet someone with that right chemistry, you will just fall into it.
I think
that's what they say fall in love.
Love
is blind.
Yeah. I definitely understand. I'm sure I can ask you this question. Your wife first time, you must have had something, the gut feeling. Okay, this is the one. The chemistry, the vibe, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I have a lot of sense of humor, I should say. When I met her, like I just wanted to make her laugh, and her name is Nero, and I just wanted to start the conversation, but her mom and dad was there too. But anyway, I pull out my courage and I answer. Nero, तपाईँको शुभ नाम के पर्यो? I think like I was nervous,
Okay, that's interesting.
And then she laughed, and then like her first question to me was, "Do we have to go to Australia?" Nepalमै बसे हुँदैन? And that's what impressed me, because I didn't want to get married to someone who just would marry me because they will have the chance to come to Australia,
Yes.
And I was coming back to Australia at that time anyway. I was going to India because of my work. So that's what impressed me. And then that's how, we fell in love with each other. And there was a physical attraction too. Yeah, because she was quite beautiful. Like, she was like a model. And then, I wasn't that bad looking as well at that time. I wasn't bald. I wasn't fat, So it was a match made in heaven, right?
Right. So exactly. Definitely.
Same thing will happen to you too. You have all these criteria, but at the same time, when you meet someone, you fall in love. You just fall in love, right?
मलाई के लाग्छ भने लास्टमा गएर कोही पनि फ्यामिलीमा हुँदो रहेछ छोरीहरूलाई सिस्टरहरूलाई आमाहरूलाई कसैलाई लाइक मलाई चाहिँ अब मेरो मामा ड्याड भाइहरू मेरो पापा Gopal papa, and then my mama Neeraj and Iraj, and then my brother Gaurav, कस्तो भने जहाँ पनि यस्तो हेर्दाखेरि कहीँ पनि अब you might come into contact with a lot of variety of men, like different personalities, but त्यो कुनैमा पनि exact father जस्तो हुनु पर्दैन, but maybe a mix of my brothers, my mamaहरू, just because you've been so grounded and looked up to them since you were brought up, त्यस्तो चाहिँ थोरै भए पनि इन्फ्लुएन्स हुँदो रहेछ कि मामा जस्तो क्यारेक्टर पापा जस्तो एथिक्स भाइ जस्तो पोलाइटनेस एन्ड काइन्डनेस ह्युमर आई डोन्ट नो यस्तो कति चिजहरू मिक्स हुँदो रहेछ कि And my brother Gaurav is so कस्तो भने कोही हुन्छ नि ब्रदरहरू एकदम प्रोटेक्टिभ दिदीलाई यस्तो चाहिने होला यस्तो दिदी he's not protective. He's so I'm very surprised, as a brother, my brother Gaurav is so giving guy, is so open to like didiko choices. It's fine with him, unless my sister is happy, I'm fine with it. No complaint भन्ने खालको ब्रदर छ के मेरो फेरि
compromising. And I think there's a huge age gap on this thing, you know? Well,
But I've seen, brothers are very protective to their sisters. Open-minded. He's always happy to whatever I'm open to, and unless it doesn't hurt me,
Right.
and it's nothing wrong to me, obviously he could be super pissed. Obviously, he has.
And also, I think you have another characteristics or quality you have is like self-discipline as well, I guess. Because I was doing a bit of research about you. You know, there's no scandals, nothing. You know, you're so protective of yourself. You know, and when you're self-disciplined, you don't need any control from either your dad, mom, your brother. Right.
Yeah, I think that's a good question and a good point. I don't know how you analyze that, but I think you say my inborn more like self-defense or self-worth and self-discipline thing. Not by my father or brother or mama or anyone. It's really from within me, you know. I don't like to barge into someone else's house, or I don't want anyone else to barge in mine. Everyone for themselves, privacy. I know we respect the privacy, and it's really important to keep that privacy. And scandals is, I think, just waste of time.
Yeah,
really waste of everyone's time. Gossips and all. So I rather believe in respecting a person's privacy and space, and unless they want to open up, I don't barge in or the not being nosy. To put your character, mama, I think that's inbuilt, and I really respect that, you know.
Yeah,
I respect that, we have to also respect with this, our session today, if it was someone else, I know, how people are so much into the finding ways to get out the gossips, but we are here to really be realistic, and that's one thing I respect about you as well. No matter even generation gap, but we are here in the topic of discussion, which is very sensitive, and we have to respect all the audience and still be very, I think, authoritative to our decisions and individual decisions. Where I've respected your thought of keeping it in the frame. And
I'm actually producing this show for my daughter, for my daughters. So that's why I'm actually producing this show for my daughters, for them to watch, for them to learn. Yeah, from this. So, I think we covered most of the things that we can share with the young generation out there, right? And I think you did very well, Vana. I think we covered so many things. Probably it's time to wrap up now. The conversation has gone on for so long.
Amazing conversation. Last it also implies with age. Not all women or men need to be happy by finding a partner. Sometimes also, they can be better without it too. But it's very quite clear that one would be incomplete without the other at the end. So to be competitive and to complete oneself, the companionship is important too, but also to respect that some people are happy without the companionship in today's day and age, So in order to complete a man's life, a woman is important too, and in order to complete a woman's life, a man is important too. Really important, I think, at the end of the day, whether it be friendship, relationship, professional career, family. They have to be coexistent in this universe to succeed as human beings. So very beautiful, I think, conversations we had, and very natural flow, didn't think.
Yeah, if we just carry on, we can go on for maybe another an hour or so. There's so many things to cover,
I think the daughters will have at least a year full of, experience sharing to learn, and they can just go on and on. So
yeah, sure. Maybe they are a little bit young to actually absorb all this information, but definitely this will be, a really good lesson for those millennials who are in their mid-20s. I think they can learn a lot from our conversation, right?
Yes.
But anyway, do you want to give them some final, closing statement?
So first of all, really humbled. It was a pleasure to be a part of your show live. And to all the Australian Nepalese and Nepalese around the world, thank you so much for tuning in and watching our, I think, insightful and experiential sharing, a very humble, sensitive topic conversation about today, what we talked about. And thank you so much, Ryan Bhai, and keep watching the Ryan show. I think it's very fruitful as I've been part of it, and I hope to come again sometime in the future, as you have suggested. But
at that point, probably you'll be sitting next to your partner.
Hopefully,
and then we will chat about the secrets of a happy marriage.
Hopefully. Thank you. Thank you for the blessings. I really appreciate that. And thank you for a very wonderful show, a very candid and amazingly natural topic that we talked in, really important that we discussed about it. Thank you for bringing it out there, Ryan, and to all the Nepalese, thank you for tuning in, and really hope to get amazing feedbacks and constructive criticisms at the same time. Thank you for your time. Just want to say, since we are at the core of the topic of relationship, marriage, commitments, and about obviously foreseeing the future, I just want to give my share of experience to my amazing audience out there who's watching, and it just goes like simple as this, past is our prisoner, so really the present is our victory, no matter what field, no matter what relationship you are in. And so really choose wisely, where you want to live. It's your choice, and it's an opportunity cost, and it will determine your life forward, the choices you make. As the choices I made shaped my present, my future, and also will be shaping again. I really believe that this is the choice you can make, and this is under your control,
Yeah.
If you're young and when you have not a lot of issues, when you're in a young, I'd say experimental phase of relationship and career, there's always a wide variety of choices you have. So choose it wisely. And really look forward to that. And don't. And the most important lesson as human beings that I have also taught my parents, my family, and myself, and my peers and friends is really don't hurt people, or I think use people in any form of relationship. It doesn't have to be marriage. In any form of relationship and profession, that's really a bad deed that would carry as karma, And when you make mistakes, be accountable. Take the accountability. Take the initiation. You are accountable for your deeds, mistakes, and also be accountable to yourself to stop blaming to others. Instead, blame yourself if you have the accountability, and do not entertain hypocrisy, because in today's day and society, there's a lot of people who really like to, have that superficial, vague conversation, not the in-depth of it, and understand the in-depth of the matter, and very much filter it, when it comes to checking or facing the reality. So really, stop hypocrisy. I think is really important that we do that now. Being very educated and self-aware, we should do that, because stop blaming the other person, and I think one other thing is body shaming, bullying, and stereotyping. It's really, really wrong thing to do, whether it be in Western, Eastern, any global citizens of the world. We need to respect, acknowledge, and this. And this is the very basic human values, otherwise what is the existence of we being human in today's day and age? Otherwise, I think we shouldn't even consider yourself as a civilized human if you cannot, the least of these values can be accounted to as human beings. So really, I think really important for that. And learn to live, let go at the end of the day, be free-willed, free-minded, free-spirited. Be experimental in life, because that's how I learned. And really, at the end of anything, or beginning or the end of anything that you start in your life, prioritize yourself. Prioritize yourself for happiness, for mental sanity, health, over the society sometimes. Of course, society values and wisdoms are also valuable equally, but when it comes to decisions like career and relationship and family, prioritize yourself and your work and happiness important. And I think don't settle for less in anything, career, family, love. And I think at the end of the day, you shouldn't as well. Anyone shouldn't, because if you've come all the way, long way to that hurdles, challenges, problems, obstacles, you might as well find a beautiful way out of it, because I did. And you just need to explore it and be patient and content and not take anything for granted in life. Because at the end, life comes once, you live up to it fullest, no matter how many mistakes, hurdles you pass it on. Know that you can make it at the end. The destination is important. And that's how I uncover my truth towards life today. You know, the destination for me was important. And today, where I stand, the destination that I am in, I'm content. I'm proud of myself. And I pat myself on the back and say, you know, you did it, you know. And for everyone out there, you need to pat yourself once in a while to say that you've overcome this so far for a reason, because you're strong, wise, and a highly intellectual and ethical human being, whether it be a man or a woman. Because I did, you know. So I will never settle for less in life. Life is competitive, but it is always fruitful and equally essential that you learn from this competitive world. Because if you have yourself, your self-worth, your background, and I think your achievement and milestone and failures along with your family, everything can be overcome. And I think the victory is right on the corner. So receive the victory, it's your choice. So let's do it today. I think start from your home, where you begin these discussions with your family, your friends, and your extended family. That's where changes come from. Not keeping yourself in that shell that you can't achieve it, because everyone uncovers and achieves the impossible. You just need to discover and uncover it, because that's how I did.
Yeah, sure. Sky's the limit.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening.
Sure. Thank you, Ivana. So many valuable advices, you know. It's like one very strong motivational speech. Even I learned so many things from your from the conversation we had today. Ivana, thank you very much. You know, and it's been a pleasure and privilege for me to have you on my show. You know, I'm not a professional. You know, I'm just a beginner learning. You know, the presentation skills, and you giving me this opportunity. I'm really grateful to you from the bottom of my heart. And hopefully, I will meet you one day, either when I come to Kathmandu, or I'm sure you'll be coming to Sydney for a holiday one day. You know, let me show you around Sydney when you come here. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. On that note, I think I'll finish the show today, and I hope to see you again in the next episode with another guest. Thank you for your audience today. Thank you very much. Namaste. Namaste, everyone. Bye.
Bye.